Well, we're back once again at Old Bedford Village, this time for Civil War weekend. Reenactors are going to take us on a trip to see what life was like 160 years ago during one of America's darkest times. Reenactors are spending the weekend camped at various locations throughout the village, interacting with the visitors and interpreting the life of both Union and Confederate soldiers and their families in the mid-19th century.
You like it?
Hey, hi. Afternoon, I guess now.
Afternoon.
While camp life is fun to learn about, the highlight of military living history events for most visitors is a battle reenactment. There were no battles fought during the conflict in the Bedford area, but I can only imagine the feeling in the town when word came out that General Robert E. Lee's Army of Northern Virginia had burned the town of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, only 40 miles to the east, while on their way to attack Harrisburg and threaten the capital in Washington, D.C. That campaign culminated at a little town less than 70 miles away called Gettysburg. Really appreciate if you'd click that subscribe button and help the channel out. You know, only about 8% of YouTube channels make any money at all from YouTube, and we're still chasing that monetization point. But we need more subscribers, and it is free for you. Now, if you want to help out with my coffee habit, there's a link to my Buy Me a Coffee page in the description.
Here comes the Johnny Rebs. They hear them. They got There's the rebel yell.
See that?
It's important to remember these reenactors aren't professional actors. This is their hobby. They use their own time and money to put together their gear and travel on their free time to present history in a realistic, living way. So be sure to thank them whenever you get the opportunity to enjoy one of their presentations. I want to give a special thanks to the reenactors of the 46th Pennsylvania Regiment Band, who added to the feeling of the event with their period music you've heard through this video. The battles were only one part of the soldiers' experience. The aftermath of these encounters continued long after the echoes of cannon and musket faded.
Determine if we need to amputate or not. Okay, so let's
He's awake. You got your finger in
let's
his
just
wound.
come over here and let's probe this wound.
I'm coming up off that table.
Feel that spoon
Oh,
bone in
he's
there.
shattered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Good chloroform.
Well, we can eat throughout here. So, the assistant surgeon are probing in there to see what's going on. And again, this is the best tool we have.
So we didn't have the MRI, right? So
What?
yeah, we couldn't do the X-rays. Nothing. Feel that
No.
bone.
Yeah. So that's what we need to do. We're going to remove this limb. We are both assessing this. We've determined that this limb needs to go.
Yep.
Yes. So our hospital steward will now put the patient to sleep. Okay. Now the thing with
Now, this is all within this 7 minutes.
Yes.
You put me to sleep.
Yes.
Okay.
He's on our table. The
me
timer
out.
starts.
Okay, we're still on the clock.
We're slowing it down just so we can explain what's going on. We're assessing this wound. Now we determine that it's got to go. Put him to sleep. If you're going to be assisting, you're going to be steadying. I'm going to be having my knives cutting through the flesh to the bone. I'll make a nice incision on the skin to make a nice flap when we're done. We will have a tourniquet in place too.
So you had nice sharp scalpels at this period.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
biggest thing is
Well,
just cutting through the bone.
As far as a scalpel, we wouldn't use a scalpel on this. We would use a Catlin knife.
Okay.
Sharp on one side, not the other. And these are sharp. They belong to the surgeon of the 108th Iowa Infantry, this amputation set.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I actually bought them, oddly enough, from his great-great-grandson. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you want to part with these things? that your
Yeah.
great-great-grandfather? Well, so, I had bought, hat comes off, it's 2024. When the hat's on, it's 1860. I can't talk modern.
Oh, I can see him. Oh, it's horrible.
Sorry.
Be careful touching.
No, go ahead. I'm good.
I do a lot of presentations for school kids, and I like to pass this around to all of them so that
Hey,
they
that's just cool just to hold
It
that.
is.
It's like-
That's
you
my
think
point.
where that was.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we do our task, sever the bone, toss the limb out of the way, that way, whatever. We're not going to just put it here because we don't want to trip over it. It's out of
Usually
our way.
there'd be a pile outside the tent.
Did you notice over
Over
here?
there on the ground.
So we will let these ligatures hang out the end of the stump. We're not going to completely close that wound. We're going to put some packing materials, some lint, some Sharpay maybe in it, and then we're going to tack the wound shut with a couple sutures just to tack it shut. Then we're going to bandage them up, wake them up, move them to recovery. 7 minutes. Next.
And you would do
patient's on
100
the
of these, hundreds in a day.
Well, I heard that Custer was ordered to go back to Kilpatrick. That he was
right.
to the fiasco.
He was supposed to be gone.
He's like, Joe, Greg, you want me to hang around? I will.
No, Greg said you're not going.
You're not going to hang around. So he hung around his own, huh?
Yeah, you stay here because you know what he did to us down at Chancellorsville.
Yep.
And he's going to do the same thing here.
Yep.
We're hiding in these trees and waiting on that guy.
Yep.
And they did, and he came in that way. And during Pickett's charge, they kept dinging him, and he never did have any effect on the battle.
Nope.
So,
Nope.
yeah, David Gregg, he never blew his own horn. If he would have bragged, like,
I'm going to get pictures of you guys.
Kilpatrick and
As we've seen, there was a tremendous support network behind the scenes for the Civil War soldiers. The Army surgeons and medical staff, the civilian sutlers who supplied some of their needs, and the camp followers, often wives and children, who helped with the domestic duties all around camp. These all contributed to the efforts on both sides. The Army bands were there to provide entertainment for downtimes and on those long, arduous marches. Let's let the 46th Pennsylvania Regiment Band take us out of this one. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, have a great week.
When they got called down to Washington for the beginning of the war, they were singing their marching song, John Brown's Body, and lots of other troops in different units in the Union Army heard it and said, oh, that's a funny, hilarious song, and the Confederates are going to love it, so we're all going to sing it now. But they didn't realize that it wasn't about the original it wasn't about the slave John Brown directly, the slave rebellion guy. So they added more and more verses, which made it more and more about that John Brown instead of the original Sergeant John Brown. Julia Ward Howe was was watching the parade of troops in review. She heard them singing that song, was not so keen on the mean lyrics, and decided to write her own set of lyrics, which she woke up in the middle of the night and wrote all 6 or 7 verses of it in the middle of the night that night. And from there, those lyrics became more strongly associated with the abolitionist movement, which was still kind of like the very extreme end of political viewpoints at that time. But as the war waged on and they saw the horrors of slavery, more and more people came around to the idea of abolition, and so that version of the song became increasingly popular. So now we have the Battle Hymn of the Republic. This is our rendition of John Brown's Body, or the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Can you guys kind of hear me back there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.